it's Tex here. I'm a mule wrangler here at Grand Canyon National Park, but I'm also a 2021 AT thru hiker. I have a couple extra days off and I found out that one of the hikes that I'd like to do is available. What I'm going to do is head down the Hermit Trail. I'm hoping it's nearby the Hermit Camp ruins. I'd love to check that out. Need to do some research and see if that's an option. I'm going to head east on the Tonto again. I'm going to overnight at Monument Creek Vista, and I'm going to go back up Bright Angel Trail once I hit that and the following day. I'm real excited because it's my first overnight on the backcountry trails, and I'm going to stop by our backcountry office after work and pick up my permit. My job for the day at our Canyon Vista ride. Working hard or hardly working, right, Berta?
What is a rat sack?
It's a rat in a sack.
Look at that picture.
Backcountry outfit.
There's a picture.
It's really self-explanatory.
And then if we don't have any availability right now, if you come back Monday morning, then issue a walk-up.
Yeah. Got my backcountry permit, a rat sack so I can keep my food overnight, and Victor Vomit stickers, the best part. We came out to Pima Point to see where Hermit Camp is, which I'll be exploring tomorrow. I believe somewhere right in there is where the remains of Hermit Camp are. That's Hermit Creek down there. See some old postcards with a butte right above the camp. That could be it. Beautiful day out here. There's the river. Nice lighting this afternoon. And just a little bit eastward on this viewpoint, you can see Monument Creek. Now, Monument Creek Vista is where the campsite is I'll be staying at. You can make out parts of the Tonto Trail right there. I'm not exactly sure where the campsite is or where the trail picks up over here, but somewhere down there's where we'll be staying. Before we get hiking tomorrow, I thought it'd be fun to go over a little bit of the history of the Hermit Trail and Hermit Camp. Back in the day, just like all of the trails here at the canyon, the Hermit Trail was a Native American route from the rim down to the river. Now, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway came to the canyon in 1901 and were bringing customers in. There was only one trail to get down to the river at that time, or even mid-canyon, and that was a toll route. Ralph Cameron was charging a toll, $1 a person, to go down into that canyon, and the railroad did not like that. They wanted their own route down. So they started work on the Hermit Trail. It was worked on and completed in 1912, and it was a state-of-the-art cobblestone, retaining walls, beautiful route that you could take by mule down to Hermit's Camp, which is on the Tonto Plateau, a little over midway down. So what clients would do was they would come in on the railroad, get off at Grand Canyon Village, take I believe it's a 7-mile stagecoach ride from there to Hermit's Rest, which was built later in 1914 by Miss Mary Jane Coulter. And then they would rest there, have refreshments, relax, and finally get on a mule for their ride down to Hermit Camp for their overnight stay. The trail was named after French-Canadian prospector and eccentric recluse Louis Boucher, who had several mines in the area and lived alone down by Dripping Springs. The Fred Harvey Company, who was the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway's partner, operated Hermit Camp, and it was state-of-the-art accommodations and services. They had tent cabins down there. They had windows, stoves, Native American rugs. The facilities had showers, electricity, and telephone service, and the main dining hall had fresh meat, fresh fruit and vegetables, and ice. In the mid-1920s, they even built an aerial tramway from Pima Point here to get supplies down to Hermit Camp very rapidly. Hermit Camp was operated for 18 years, and it was finally abandoned in 1931, 9 years after Phantom Ranch was built down by the Colorado River. The railroad wanted to focus on Phantom Ranch at this time since the National Park Service was finally able to acquire the Cameron Trail after Grand Canyon became a national park. And so there's very easy access from the rim down to Phantom Ranch via the Bright Angel Trail. No stagecoach involved. What I found really interesting was that in 1936, the Park Service ordered a cleanup of the area. They razed the buildings, they dismantled the aerial tramway, and they burned and torched everything that remained. Today, the only remains of Hermit Camp are building foundations, sidewalks, an underground cold cellar, a corral, and parts of the aerial tramway. The Hermit Trail was closed temporarily in the 1940s due to erosion, but in the 1970s and 1980s, they stabilized the trail and rebuilt it to what it is today to coincide with the big backpacking boom happening across the country. I'm pretty excited to get down there and experience all of it firsthand. It's going to look a lot different in person than from up here on the rim. It always does. Getting started nice and early at 4:30. Here we are at the trailhead. It's 5:10 a.m. It's officially sunrise. And now we're at the part of the trail that I like, where you have lots of riprap, kind of cobblestone to keep the trail from eroding so quickly. I like to call it the superhighway. We're also now in the Coconino sandstone layer, and this was a desert when this layer of the canyon was put down. So there's many different fossil tracks. I'll try to record the best ones for you. Now that the sun's up, I can do a little hike orientation with you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going down the Hermit Trail today. I am going to go out to Hermit Camp, and then I will get on the Tonto Trail, heading east, and we'll be camping at Monument Creek Vista today. Now this is an early summer hike, June 12th and 13th. I plan to do about 15 miles per day, and today's high should be around 80. Tomorrow's high should be around 90. The low tonight should be about 55. Today I should be losing about 4,000 feet of elevation. The Tonto Plateau, where the majority of the hike will be, is about 3,000 elevation. And tomorrow I'll be hiking up that additional 4,000. Here's your turnoff to go to Dripping Springs. I just did this hike the other day with two friends, Ron and Katie. We're gonna go towards Santa Maria Springs instead. Before we proceed, I feel like I need to do a disclaimer. The Grand Canyon is a pretty dangerous place to hike. On most hikes, you're going up. When you get tired, you turn around and you go down, and it's easier for you. The big difference here is you are headed down first. And when people turn around because they're tired, they have all the uphill hike left ahead of them. They say that it takes you twice as long to go up as it does down on average. Now, if this is your first time here, you should not be taking a hike down into the canyon very far. Certainly not river rim if this is your first time at the canyon. That's not what we're doing today, but just a little disclaimer. A backcountry trail should also not be your first hike here in the canyon. The three main corridor trails are more maintained. There's PSAR rangers, preventative search and rescue rangers there, and the park rangers are on those trails much more, and a lot more hikers in case you run into trouble. Now this Hermit Trail is a backcountry trail, and the Tonto as well. Your first hike here in Grand Canyon should also not be in the summertime. These aren't ideal conditions because of the heat. There's very little shade, we are very hot and very dry, and because of all of those reasons and the major elevation change, hiking here can be a lot more challenging and much more difficult than people are anticipating. You want to play it safe until you're familiar with this environment and these trails, and just slowly build up your repertoire until you're comfortable doing more difficult things. There are also many different tips that the park rangers can give you to help ensure your hike in the heat here is a safe one. During June, the ones I'm going to be employing the most are wetting down. You need to soak your core to cool your temperature, your body temperature. And so I'll try to hike with my shirt wet as much as I can. I'm carrying plenty of water, and I'm also going to be eating a lot. Every 2 hours minimum, I have a snack to keep me going. And plenty of electrolytes, of course, as well. There's Santa Maria Spring right down there. Here it is, Santa Maria Springs. Got a little trough catching the drip. And then there's this wood shingle rock shade structure. Really nice for getting out of the heat. Oh yeah, we're gonna be sitting there for a minute. I was wondering what a backcountry trail would look like going down these vertical red wall limestone paths, because on the corridor trails they use plenty of dynamite to blast out big switchbacks going down there. But now that I come around to this side, I can kind of see that it's not such a sheer cliff over here. So somehow we're going to wind around down there. You can see a little bit of trail way over there. I'm not expecting to run into too many people on this trail, but I met my first people. They were a couple from Germany. I think they said Bavaria. Does that sound right? And they spent 2 nights down at Hermit Creek. They were very nice, fun to run into people. Looks like we're going over there. Now we're on the other side of that little butte. Aha! Here is where we make our descent. They're going to shoot us down there and eventually wind up down there. Pretty smart. Wow, talk about strategic planning on this trail. That was way easier to get down. There's a bunch of switchbacks there. I don't know if you can see them too well from this angle. But we're down most of it. Most of the red wall limestone. And we're going to go through there. And then just hit that slope. That'll take us down the rest. Getting down to the Tonto, making progress. And that's about it for the shaded portion of today's hike. Once we get onto the Tonto Plateau, it's pretty much full sun, which is why I'm gonna put up my hood, put down my long sleeves, and wear long pants to protect my skin. A lot of people, first time visiting the canyon, they wear tank tops and shorts, and that direct sun on your skin is just gonna cook you right up. It is much more safe to wear long sleeve and long pants. That way it keeps the sun off your skin, keeps you cooler, but also you're gonna sweat either way. And you might as well keep this clothes on your skin damp so that your skin stays cooler, keep you cooler overall. Engage sun protection. Our intersection. Made it here earlier than I thought. Our campsite is in Monument Creek, that away. However, that would only make an 8-mile hike today, and we are just 3 miles shy of Hermit Camp, which is by Hermit Creek. And we're gonna go check out what remains of Hermit Camp. Ooh, let's go. See what appear to be stone foundations or fences. Could we already be here? I'm betting we're in the right spot. This seems to match the photo on that kiosk. Check this out. Some glass. Some dishware maybe. Now if I understand correctly, from an archaeologist perspective, you should not put things on display like this. You should leave them where you found them so they have reference of the surrounding area. But kind of neat. That glass is really colorful. Cool, check it out. The old cold cellar. Wow. And there is still some junk in here. Check this out. It's pieces of the old aerial tramway. How cool is that? And it started the tramway from Pima Point. Perhaps that's it up there. Really neat. Here's the old mule corral. Gate. Maybe this helped open and close the gate. And over here, water trough. Pretty neat to see. And the rest of the stuff was up there. It's a nice touch. Well, I found Hermit Camp and Hermit Creek, so I loaded back up on Rodder. I'm trying to decide. My mileage was a little bit off. My day is going to be at about 11 miles, which means I have not even 3 miles left for the day, and it's 11 a.m. I'm toying with the idea of going 1.5 miles down to the river at Hermit Rapids and coming back up, so that'd add 3 miles, which would put me right back around 15 where I was planning on being. I don't know. Make that decision when we get there. I went down in the creek and got the umbrella out. We are ready for the return trip. Hermit Rapids. This is the path that takes you down to the creek that leads you down to the river. Well, I saw no need to get to the campsite by 1 o'clock. So we're going for the river, but check out this little trail. Isn't that neat? Runs right under that ledge. Nice creek sitting spots. You could get down there. We got cairns marking the trail. This is a lizard that I have not seen here before. What type is he? Pretty big. Probably like a foot long, head to tail. Oh, now he's posing. Look at all this shiny rock. I believe it's mica schist. Okay, wow. Found Hermit Rapid. I don't think I'll be taking a dip in that water, but maybe sit down for a second. We had some thunderstorms off to the east and got a little drizzle here. Now we're getting some dramatic highlights on some of those buttes. Nice. Finally finished up with that little detour. We have only 2.3 left to go to the campsite at Monument Creek Vista. Check out this unusual monolith. This is the monument that Monument Creek is named after. I think we are almost to the campsite. I think it's right over there. It's finally time for some rest. Had dinner, ready for bed. Found a nice spot. I'm cowboy camping under the stars tonight. And getting an early start tomorrow morning because I've got something to be at in the evening and I cannot miss it. So I'm going to get a nice early start. See you guys in the morning. Good morning. We're going to be walking to the east of the alligator. butte that juts out pretty far when you're looking at the top. I can kind of see why it was named that from here. I'm on the east side of Monument Valley Creek right now. There's that big monolith. It's peat sandstone on top of a Brahma schist base. The trail leading to the left goes to the campsite. The trail that's switchbacking down goes down to the creek and down to the river. I had the most beautiful night last night at that campsite. Before it got dark, I spotted a California condor soaring overhead way up high, but I did spot him. He circled around for a long while, or she. Once it got dark, the stars came out. It was the star show. Saw starlink cruise by right in between canyon walls. And then I heard the crickets and the frogs by the creek. Around 2:30 in the morning when I woke up, looked up and directly overhead, you could see the beautiful Milky Way. We're an international dark sky park here at the Grand Canyon. They say about 80% of Americans can no longer see the Milky Way from where they live. And we're one of the few places where you still can. In the early morning hours, I heard the bats and even saw the most brilliant shooting star that just shot across the sky and left a huge streak behind it. Just doesn't get better than that. Oh man, that was my favorite sunset to date of all the sunsets I've seen out here. Felt like I was the only one in the whole canyon. No other people around. And you get to watch the color turn red on those canyon walls behind me. The show is in the color change opposite the sun. The sunrise itself is nice too. But the show is over here. Highly recommend camping in the canyon and catching sunrise on the Tonto. Just lovely. I was excited to do this trip, but it has turned out to be even more amazing than I was hoping. Cedar Spring. This is the next campsite. Here's the campsite. Really just a flat tent pad. No bathrooms at this one. Good morning, tiny bird. Oh, bye. Okay, and now for a little bit of history about the trail we're starting on today, the Tonto Trail. This originally started, if we go back to the late 1800s, when men were coming here prospecting. And they would come down from the rim, come down to about this level, or a little further, and they were prospecting for minerals. And they filed mining claims all along here. And they used this trail, or they made this trail, as a shortcut to get between the mining claims without going back up to the top. So this was an east to west kind of a highway route between their claims. And then from 1912 to 1930, the Fred Harvey Company took people on mule rides on this loop that I'm doing over these 2 days. They called it the Hermit, well, now we call it the Hermit-Bright Angel Loop. It's the exact same path that I'm taking. That's a new fun fact that I just recently learned. I am walking in the footsteps of mule wranglers prior, or I guess at least they're mules. Look at that view that just opened up. The inner gorge. Look at that gorgeous river. Get it? Gorgeous. Check it out. Trilobite tracks. Trace fossils. Salt Creek campsite this way? Yep. Let's go see what it's like. Here's a campsite. And another. Nice scenery. Another spot down there. This is a fun toilet. Haven't seen one like that before. Pretty good view for doing your morning business. Seashell fossil. Look at these guys. Making it work in a little puddle. Living and thriving in potentially radioactive waters. The next creek, this is Salt Creek. The next one is Horn Creek. Y'all are just about to grow some legs and get out of there, aren't ya? And there was some uranium mining by Horn Creek. So they say you shouldn't drink from these water sources. This is really cool for me. On the South Kaibab Trail, they have these on the liner rocks of the trail, but you don't really see them in their original situ while they're still in the rock wall. This is the exact layer where those trilobites were crawling. Isn't that amazing? More river views. Starting to get warm. Here's what the Tonto Trail looks like much of the time. There's plants that infringe on the trail, so I'm really glad that I wore pants, because if I was wearing shorts, my legs would be all scratched up. Can finally see Battleship. I climbed to the top of that thing twice now. I'll link the video up in the corner. Umbrella is engaged. It's getting warm. I came across two other ladies hiking the opposite direction. First people I've seen all day. We have a wonderful breeze right now. It's really keeping me going. Now, if I'm correct, I think that these are 4 viewpoints that you can take the Red Route bus to. On the left, Maricopa, and then Powell, then Hopi, and on the right, Mojave. Yay! Finally made it to Horn Creek. Nice little bench. Tent pad over there. Let's see what's up these steps. Another one of those box toilets over there. A few more tent spots a little farther away. Still a small place. Woohoo! Came off the Tonto, meeting up with the Plateau Point Trail. Almost to Havasupai. Almost springtime. Well, we officially hit today's high. Had a quick break at Havasupai Gardens, and I'm about to go. Got the water. Just wanted to show y'all this. About 2 months ago, maybe, they officially had a ceremony where they changed the name from Indian Gardens to Havasupai Gardens. And they just recently put up some posters about it. Y'all might want to pause it and read, because this is fascinating information, I think. I used to see this guy on trail. He would hike down on days where there was a full moon so he could pray here at Havasupai Gardens. He would come in full regalia. Okay, all wet down and ready to roll. 4.5 miles left. Cutting through the campsite for fun. Oh look, some resident mule deer. Hi. Here's the campgrounds here. They've all got rain shelters. Those umbrellas are the real deal. Those are the kind you need here. Now all we need to do is get all the way up there. No biggie. Exit is right up there. Last time it took 3 hours. Let's see. Up next, the 12 switchbacks of Jacob's Ladder to ascend the Redwall Limestone. This is the corridor version of how you get up that big red cliff. Here we go. Elevation survey marker. But even cooler, look at this. Here's an elevation marker from the past. You see that? 4610 elevation. Almost at the top. Sure, good view of most of the switchbacks. Howdy, Sherman.
Well, how are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm incognito. I'm a hiker today. Here's the reptile tracks. 340 million years old. Older than the dinosaurs. Pretty good specimen. Pictographs painted 2,000 to 4,000 years ago by the ancient Havasupai people. You've got lizard, turtle, coyote, snake, dotted spiral, and light handprints up at the top. One of my favorite things. Most people walk right under them because you don't know to look up. 1.5 mile rest house. The prickle poppy are in full bloom. There's the keeper of the canyon. Hi! Oh, female bighorn. Look at the baby! Aww.
Hand off the
Oh! Busy day on trail. Traffic jam. There's another set of pictographs right there.
Doing good, Dad?
Last tunnel. There's the top.
You can see the arch right here.
Wait, there's an alternate right there.
That was the last stretch. And we were all the way down there this morning. Actually, midday.